On the road to MotoGP, this is FAB-Racing.
Archie Gibbs, who's going to be lining up on the pole position for this one. Rider who's had a little bit of bad luck this season, but has showed some really good pace, and it's showing with him taking pole position going into race 1 for the AC40 Pros. Ethan Sparks it is then who leads this championship at the moment. Joshua Williams in second place. He had a bit of a tough time back at Wilton Mill, so he's going to be looking to set that one straight this weekend. 33 points is the championship lead from number 62 of Ethan Sparks over Joshua Williams. Ethan Sparks down in 4th place on the grid. But Archie Gibbs is then who's going to line up on pole, the number 3, with a 55.083 ahead of the number 58 of Marco Holt in second place. Number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow is third ahead of Ethan Sparks, your championship leader, in 5th. Archie O'Brien, the number 91 in 5th place ahead of Luke Fitchett in 6th. Joshua Williams, who we were just talking about, will be in 7th place ahead of Byron Johnson, who's moving up from the AC40 rookies to the AC40 Pros for this weekend, in 8th place ahead of Bill Harris, Noah Guillory and Bailey Lawrence, rounding out the grid in 11th place on the number 9 machine. But it's Archie Gibbs then who's going to line up on that pole position and will be looking to take the whole shot.
Yep, but watch out for the 4th placed starter, Ethan Sparks, leading the championship by 33 points coming into this weekend, ahead of Josh Williams. Josh Williams back in 7th. So Ethan and Josh not enjoying the best of qualifying sessions, but Archie Gibbs, as you say, a couple of bike issues so far this season has cost him possibly that chance of fighting towards the top end of this championship. But he will be starting on pole with Marco Holt alongside him, and Marco has had some brilliant rides so far, but equally he's probably had as much bad luck as Archie Gibbs has had. So it's a great front row to see here for the AC40 Pro class, and they're getting ready to kick off their first race of the weekend here at Ellough Park with FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. It's round 5. You're watching on FAB-Racing or on motorsport.radio, and we're getting ready to go for their first race of the weekend. Of course, one of 3, and it'll be Archie Gibbs versus Marco Holt off the line. That's Bailey Lawrence, who's had an issue already, but Archie Gibbs getting a great start already with a comfortable lead. Ethan Sparks moves into 3rd position. Marco Holt already dropped down to 5th place. Not a great start there from the youngster.
Absolute rocket start for the number 3 of Archie Gibbs off the line. Just absolutely left everyone for dead off of the line. So brilliant reactions from him, and then another brilliant start as well from Archie O'Brien, who's climbed his way up into 2nd place, I believe that is, ahead of Ethan Sparks. But yeah, Marco Holt not getting the start he would have wanted, but it's Archie Gibbs who took the whole shot and already has some breathing space on this first lap. So will the likes of Ethan Sparks be able to catch him up? Archie O'Brien as well, what can he do about the number 3 of Archie Gibbs? Ethan Sparks has a little look at Archie O'Brien into the hairpin, but no room through on this lap. They go into the left-hand hairpin for the first time, and then into that fast swooping final corner. Byron Johnson also looking pretty strong further back in this one. He's just moved up from the AC40 rookies, making his debut in the AC40 Pro class in this race. Joshua Williams as well, you can see on the back of this group, he's going to be looking to try and see what he can do about Ethan Sparks. Can he catch up the championship leader? Of course, Ethan Sparks and Joshua Williams battling it out for the championship.
Archie Gibbs already with a 1.2 second lead at the exit of the first lap, and behind it is because Archie O'Brien is trying to hold off Ethan Sparks, and Ethan Sparks looking very racy behind Archie O'Brien, and it's bringing Marco Holt and Josh Williams into play. Josh Williams having jumped past Thorley Trevorrow on that last lap, and Josh Williams now trying to get himself up into a contending position. Of course, 2nd in this championship on 204 points. He'll be looking at picking up a podium, but Marco Holt, you can already see, starting to put the pressure on Archie O'Brien, and Archie O'Brien has lost that position to Ethan Sparks. So Ethan Sparks has moved up into 2nd place, comes across the line, is looking very racy indeed, but it's Archie Gibbs going even quicker. It's a 1 second lap. He's 0.6 of a second faster than Ethan Sparks, so Archie Gibbs right on the pace in the early stages of this one.
Absolutely, and this is not what Joshua Williams is going to want to see Ethan Sparks made his way through on Archie O'Brien and is absolutely cleared off away from this bunch now. So Joshua Williams will have wanted to be able to try and get onto the back of Ethan Sparks, but Ethan showing superior pace to these guys behind him. Archie O'Brien not quite able to go with Ethan Sparks. So Marco Holt and Joshua Williams, they're going to be looking to see what they can do to get on the podium as Marco Holt makes a move for the podium. So that's Marco Holt up into third place ahead of Archie O'Brien. Now Archie O'Brien looking to the inside as they go into the hairpin, but not close enough as they go into the hairpin. And it looks as if Marco Holt's got a little bit of breathing space already now. So Marco Holt also now pulling away from the number 91 of Archie O'Brien. What can Joshua Williams do as well in fifth place? But like you say, Archie Gibbs at the front, absolutely flying, but so is the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, a 59.3 on that last lap, considerably quicker than Archie Gibbs on that last lap. So Ethan Sparks is doing all he can to try and reel in your race leader.
We've got two packs on circuit here, and I just had a quick glance out the commentary booth window, and this battle going on from 6th down to 10th is brilliant. Bill Harris has just overtaken Thorley Trevorrow into 6th place, and Bill's moved up from 9th to 6th. A brilliant start for the 14. Byron Johnson's involved in this one, his first race in the AC40 Pro class, and equally Luke Fitchett and Noah Guillory holding on to a position. They're all battling over the top 6 place finish, and we've got this breakaway of Archie Gibbs that's starting to extend that lead. 1.4 seconds he's now got over Ethan Sparks, but Ethan Sparks doing a 59.3 last time around, so he's improving, and in fact he's just gone purple again as Archie Gibbs has now started to fall into the clutches of Ethan Sparks. Ethan Sparks on that last lap went 2 seconds faster than anyone else, and you can see on screen and you can see on track that Ethan Sparks is right on the tail of Archie Gibbs.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan Sparks has done a brilliant job, put a real effort in to get onto the back of Archie Gibbs, and now Ethan Sparks, your championship leader, looking to try and take the lead in this race as well. So Ethan Sparks really flying in this one, and you're going to think he's going to be making a move on Archie Gibbs very soon with 5 laps to go in this race. Marco Holt currently still in third ahead of Archie O'Brien, and Josh Williams down in 5th. Like you say, that battle between Bill Harris, Trevorrow, Johnson and Fitchett also really hotting up really nicely as well. But also awesome to see Byron Johnson fighting with the likes of Luke Fitchett, Thorley Trevorrow, riders who we've seen battling for podiums, and so really impressive to see Byron Johnson in his first race here battling with those guys. But Ethan Sparks it is then who's now taken the lead of this race ahead of Archie Gibbs. So now what can Archie Gibbs do about Ethan Sparks? Will he be able to go with the number 62? Will he be able to follow the pace that Ethan Sparks has been able to set in this race? Often it's a lot easier to follow than it is to lead, Gareth.
Yeah, very much so, and it's now up to Archie Gibbs to close in on Ethan and make that pass once again for this race lead. But Ethan Sparks has looked very strong indeed in the last 4 or 5 laps, really turned on the pace, and is trying to build a gap over Archie Gibbs as they go down into the turn 9 hairpin and just navigate themselves around the final 2 corners in this one. Ethan Sparks is going to come out the final corner with at least a second's gap over himself and Archie Gibbs. So Ethan really turning on the style late in this one. It's a 7/10 gap across the line. Archie Gibbs in 2nd place. Marco Holt is just about holding on to position in 3rd with Archie O'Brien, Josh Williams behind, and then that battle for 6th place is still going on between Bill Harris, Thorley Trevorrow. Byron Johnson is leading from Luke Fitchett and Noah Guillory, all in close quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. And Archie Gibbs now 11 seconds ahead of that battle that he was in earlier on with Archie O'Brien, and 9.3 seconds ahead of Marco Holt. So Ethan Sparks really flying in this one, and taking Archie Gibbs with him at the moment, but still looking a really dominant force in this race. So looking back at the number 37 of Byron Johnson at the moment, just leading over the number 7 of Luke Fitchett, and also Guillory in that one as well. Noah Guillory there with the bright orange flashes positions, just behind Luke Fitchett, looking to try and take 9th place away there. So that's the battle for 8th, and really impressive to see Byron Johnson sticking it to these guys and battling it out with some well-known names in this category. In his debut in the AC40 Pros, dominated pretty much over at the AC40 Rookies, took a few wins, took some podiums, and now here to see what he can do in the AC40 Pro class. Looking now at Archie O'Brien battling with Josh Williams, who's second in the championship at the moment, but where Ethan Sparks is at the moment, he's going to be extending that championship lead over Josh Williams by quite some way, with Josh Williams now down in 5th position. He's going to be looking to try and take 4th away from the number 91 of Archie O'Brien.
Yeah, and he's doing a brilliant job, Ethan Sparks, of extending that gap. He's put several bikes between himself and Josh Williams. Of course, Ethan Sparks starting 4th in the grid, and he's managed to build that gap over Archie Gibbs to 1.4 seconds. We're on the final lap of the race. Ethan Sparks has really controlled this one since getting to the front, closing in that what was 1.5 second gap between himself and Archie Gibbs, and you can see now he's extended out to 2.6 seconds. So Ethan Sparks really enjoying himself out there on the AC40 Pro bike, and doing a stellar job extending his championship lead that's already looking pretty healthy, and he's going to extend it to upwards of 50 points going into race 2 of the weekend tomorrow morning. So yeah, that is Ethan Sparks, the 62 out there, who's ridden an exceptional race to close in and take it, and he comes down to the hairpin for the final time. And Ethan Sparks has deserved this one. It's been a fantastic result for the young man. He's got 2 more corners to navigate, and into the final corner comes Ethan Sparks, exits the final corner, takes the checkered flag, and is your winner in the AC40 Pros. What a win for the young man. Archie Gibbs will come home in 2nd position, with Marco Holt is desperately trying to hold off Archie O'Brien and Josh Williams. He's going to come around the final corner, and Marco Holt will take a podium place. So well done, Marco, in 3rd, Archie O'Brien in 4th, Josh Williams in 5th, and behind you've still got that battle going on between Bill Harris and Dorley Trevorrow. But yeah, Ethan Sparks, a really well-deserved win there from the young man. You can see just congratulations from Archie Gibbs. But yeah, brilliant race there from the 62.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a championship leader for a reason, and showing everyone that he has what it takes to win in every condition.
But on the pole position will be the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, with a time of 55 flat, ahead of Marco Holt, who had a good day yesterday all around pretty much for Marco, and the 58 of course in that well-known green Monsters Inc. style helmet. You can see that, just having a chat there. And in 3rd place you've got Thorley Trevorrow and then Ethan Sparks, who of course had a dominant win in the MKGP 50s just a few races ago. He's back on the Minibikes and his lines up in 4th. Archie O'Brien in 5th, with Luke Fitchett in 6th. Josh Williams in 7th, Byron Johnson making his debut weekend in the Pros in 8th. Bill Harris in 9th, with Nola Guillory in 10th. Bailey Lawrence in 11th, and I would imagine Austin Johnson will line up in 12th position. So it's going to be, once again, and Trystan, it's a week, the AC40 Pros, these are riders from, as you say, they're starting their career in this road to MotoGP, the official partner of the BSB here at FAB-Racing. It is the start of their career. They're as young as 6 years old, which is brilliant to see them. We said yesterday, in very tricky conditions, and you can see the track is starting to really dry up now. It's starting to get really patchy, so the grip will improve, the times will improve, and these riders will get faster and faster. And it's very impressive to see these riders, as we said, as young as 6 years old, really throwing the bike into the corners and holding full commitment on these AC40 Pro bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant to see these guys. They're all learning the trade, all learning their racecraft, and improving all the time. And we see it all the time. Championship leader in this one, Ethan Sparks, who's also at the front of the MKGP 50 Championship. So it's also brilliant to see these guys moving up through the ranks. And this is where it all starts. But it's the number 3 of Archie Gibbs. Picked up 2nd place yesterday. He starts from pole position. Will he be able to convert that into a win today? He will be looking to do that as they look to the lights for race 2 for the AC40 Pros, and it's underway. A good start there from the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, and it's the Ethan Sparks who makes his way up into 2nd place now. A good start from Ethan, back from 4th on the grid, took the inside line into turn 1 and picks up that 2nd place in this race. So will he be able to charge and catch Archie Gibbs out front.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Archie. Went a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, but managed to get back on the power and held on to a good gap over Ethan Sparks, as you say. Brilliant start from the 62, from 4th into 2nd, getting past Thorley and Marco into turn 1. But yeah, if you're Archie Gibbs, you've got to hope that he can hold on to this one, because 2nd place yesterday for Archie Gibbs. Ethan Sparks, of course, was yesterday's race winner. Marco Holt picking up a podium in 3rd place as well. So Marco, who is found himself in 3rd position once again, but is going to try and close in on this battle that's now Ethan Sparks closing in on Archie Gibbs. So Ethan, having started in 4th position, is now right on the tail of Archie Gibbs as they exit turn 1 for the 2nd time. And in fact, he's trying to look up the inside line into Archie Gibbs. Archie takes a quick look behind just to see where Ethan Sparks is, and Ethan, I'm sure, will be buoyed by that result that he's just had in the MKGP 50s, and he'll be looking at translating that over onto these mini bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. Already picked up a win today and looking to pick up a win on the mini moto class in this AC40 Race 2 here at Ellough Park. We were just looking earlier at Austin Johnson, who's on the back of this race, the number 27. He's moved up from the AC40 rookies into the AC40 Pros and making his debut in this one, as he was racing in the rookies yesterday. Scored 234 points or over, which means he's had to move up, and he's now up into 10th place in this race. But this battle at the front then between the number 3 of Archie Gibbs and Ethan Sparks really hotting up for these guys. Race 2 for the AC40 Pros. We saw Ethan Sparks absolutely flying yesterday, taking a win ahead of Archie Gibbs. Will he be able to get one on him today as well? Thorley Trevorrow now down to 7th place, so he's dropped through the order from 3rd place on the grid. But it's all about this battle at the front now then. The number 3 of Archie Gibbs defending from the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, looking menacing in behind him, and he set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap with a 56.4, although Archie Gibbs with a 56.4 also on that last lap, as we see a change for 3rd place there between Archie O'Brien snatching 3rd place away from the number 58 of Marco Holt, who is having a really good weekend so far. 3rd place yesterday in the AC40 Pros, and also picking up the LC40 Elite win. Luke Fitchett there also on the back of that battle for 3rd place, and Josh Williams a little bit further back there in 6th, also trying to get on the back of this battle for 3rd. He's 2nd place in the championship, and 47 points adrift from Ethan Sparks, who's out the front. Yeah,
Archie Gibbs and Ethan Sparks are having a right battle at the front of this one. It's the start of their young careers. They want to head towards MotoGP, BSB, all of the top tier bike championships in the world, and they are doing it in some style. Ethan Sparks was half a tenth of a second behind Archie Gibbs and tried to look the inside. Behind, you've got this battle going on between Archie O'Brien and Marco Holt. So all throughout the field we see battles going on. Luke Fitchett has equally got Josh Williams for company as well, and then we've got Bill Harris and Byron Johnson down in 8th and 9th position, and so it is all happening. There's Ethan Sparks as he tries to go side by side with Archie Gibbs into turn 1. Does he get the move done? Not quite. Archie Gibbs closing the door and holding on to this one, but once again Ethan trying to sweep to the inside. Archie doing a brilliant job of holding on to the lead this one, but Ethan is not giving up, and this is brilliant racing from riders, of course, very, very young, but brilliant racecraft, and Archie giving him the room but closing the door when he needs to. Really good defensive riding from the 3.
Yeah, the number 62 of Ethan Sparks doing everything he can to try and find a way through on the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, but Archie doing a brilliant job to ride defensively and try and make sure there's no way through for the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. Still 5 laps to go in this race, so plenty of time for a battle to brew between these guys, and expect to see them swapping positions towards the end of this one as they head into the final corner, down on into the home straight, crossing line. 4 laps to go for these guys as they're side by side on the finish straight, and Ethan Sparks was looking to make a move into turn 1. Did he take the lead? We'll find out shortly, but it's Archie O'Brien still leading that battle for 3rd place. No, it's still the number 3 of Archie Gibbs who's leading this one ahead of Ethan Sparks.
Ethan Sparks gets an absolute rocket of a launch out the final corner. 17 thousandths of a second split the leading pair as they came across the line, but Archie Gibbs just holding onto that inside line into turn 1, and once again he's got top. Ethan Sparks all over his rear tyre, and Ethan looking very racy indeed in this one. 4 laps left to go. We've got about 3.5 as they come into the slingshot hairpin. Ethan Sparks once again having a look to the inside, but Archie closing the door. Brilliant defensive riding as Marco Holt once again has a look to the back of Archie O'Brien. This is for the podium. Marco Holt has a look to the inside. He's going to go deep, and that's going to allow the door for Luke Fitchett. And here comes Ethan Sparks up the inside. Does he finally get the move done? No, once again it is Archie Gibbs that sweeps around the outside using a wider line, taking more speed into the straight before turn 2. Ethan Sparks doing all he can, but this is brilliant from Archie Gibbs.
Yeah, and Ethan Sparks gets a really good drive out that final corner. He's able to just get alongside Archie Gibbs down the front straight, but Archie Gibbs too late on the brakes for the number 62. But the number 62 of Ethan Sparks making his way up into the lead, into the left-hander then as they go down towards the dogleg hairpin. It's Ethan Sparks now in the lead of this one. He goes defensive into the dogleg hairpin, so he's taken the lead and trying to make sure there's no way through for Archie Gibbs. A little bit of breathing space for Ethan now as they go through the slingshot hairpin down into the penultimate corner. Ethan Sparks is really putting a shift on now and trying to make sure he can make a gap between him and Archie Gibbs. Can Archie Gibbs get onto the back wheel of Ethan Sparks? He's definitely got a bit of a gap now. 0.6 of a second it was over the line. So Ethan Sparks now flying now that he's taken the lead of this race.
Yeah, he's starting to build that gap. Archie Gibbs did all he could to hold back a flying Ethan Sparks, but now Ethan's got into the lead of this one. As down goes Archie O'Brien. Down goes Archie O'Brien at turn 2, sliding off into the infield. That promotes Marco Holt up into a podium position. So currently it's exactly what we saw yesterday. Ethan Sparks leading from Archie Gibbs, from Marco Holt, and disaster there for Archie O'Brien, just losing the adhesion on the tyre, sliding down back on his feet, back on the bike, and but unfortunate for Archie O'Brien, drops him out of the podium. But yeah, it promotes the 58 now up into 3rd position, and Luke Fitchett now up into 4th.
Yeah, and I wonder if that move that Ethan Sparks made to take the lead of Archie Gibbs just unsettled Archie a little bit, because he seems to be putting the pace down a little bit more now, and he's set a quick lap on that last lap, but Ethan Sparks with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. So Ethan Sparks flying out the front and trying to pull away from Archie Gibbs. It was 1.5 seconds on that last lap, so Ethan Sparks doing all he can to pull away from Archie Gibbs. With 1 lap to go in this race, 1.5 seconds was the lead over the line, and there he is, Ethan Sparks. You can see a big gap between him and Archie Gibbs now, so Ethan Sparks looking really comfortable on this final lap to take the win. He's done a brilliant job in this race from 4th place on the grid, got a brilliant start up into 2nd, caught up to Archie Gibbs, followed him for a little bit, and then took the lead right at the end and then pulled away as he goes into the penultimate corner for the final time, down into the final corner. Absolutely brilliant victory it was then for number 62 of Ethan Sparks, takes the win. A brilliant win there for Ethan Sparks, and Archie Gibbs taking 20 points in the championship and moving up into 3rd place in the championship for the number 3 rider. A good 2nd place there from Archie Gibbs, and it was Marco Holt that took that battle for 3rd place ahead of Luke Fitchett and Josh Williams, your 2nd place man in the championship, 5th place in this race. So all the meanwhile, Ethan Sparks pulling out that championship lead at the front.
Yeah, brilliant race from Ethan Sparks once again. That's 3 wins out of 4 races so far this weekend for him. He's won twice today, of course, on the MKGP 50s and now on the AC40 Pro bike. So Ethan Sparks really, really impressive so far this weekend, and I'm sure he will be delighted. Archie Gibbs did all he could to hold off Ethan Sparks, but Ethan looking mighty here at Ellough Park, and but it is Ethan Sparks, your race winner, ahead of Archie Gibbs. Marco Holt making it the exact same podium we saw yesterday, with Luke Fitchett making his way up to 4th, Josh Williams in 5th, Archie O'Brien in 6th, with Thorley Trevorrow in 7th, Bill Harris in 8th, with Byron and Austin Johnson rounding out the top 10 ahead of Noah Guillory in 11th position. But once again, Ethan Sparks on top, which is a position that we've seen him multiple times this season. He adds to a plethora of race wins in the AC40 Pros, and yeah, he is looking very much the rider to beat in this one, if not the possible, of course, anything can happen in racing, but a runaway championship leader. It is on pole position. It is going to be Archie Gibbs, 2 second places so far for the number 3 bike, with Marco Holt in second position. He's picked up 2 third places. Thorley Trevorrow in third position with Ethan Sparks. Watch out for him. 2 race wins so far this weekend in the AC40 Pros. He is lining up in 4th with Archie O'Brien in 5th. Luke Fitchett 6th, lining up with Josh Williams in 7th. Alongside brand new to this category this weekend, Byron Johnson in 8th. Bill Harris in 9th, Noah Guillory 10th, Bailey Lawrence in 11th, with Austin Johnson, who's equally moved up, as we've got a bike down already, and that is Thorley Trevorrow. And Thorley down already on the warm-up lap as they go to the grid, so being caught out by one of the corners just as they went down towards the dogleg hairpin.
Yeah, really unfortunate. That's really not something you want to be doing, is crashing out on this lap, and looks absolutely frustrated with that one. Really not very happy with that one at all, and really disappointed with that. But hopefully he'll be able to get that bike restarted and get back into the race. But he doesn't seem like he's in a state in which he can rejoin this race at the moment. But running over to his bike, that bike is restarted, but there's a bit of plastics missing from the back of it, but it's not going to stop Thorley Trevorrow from trying to get back out into this race. Or is he just riding it back into pit lane? He might just be riding it back into the pits. No, he is coming round to join onto the back of this grid, or onto his position rather, in third place on this grid. So Thorley Trevorrow, a bit of a dramatic start to the race for him, but just needs to calm down a little bit now and get ready for this race.
Yeah, Thorley Trevorrow seeing red there, but the red that he wants to look at now is the lights as they get ready to start their third and final race of the weekend. Off the line goes Archie Gibbs. Can Marco Holt challenge down into turn 1? Watch out for Ethan Sparks. In fact, he's dropped into second position ahead of Marco Holt there, so Ethan Sparks already making the move from 4th into 2nd. Once again, for the third race in a row, it's Archie Gibbs that gets a good run off the line leading into this one. But what he will have, I'm sure, look behind him, because Ethan Sparks and Marco Holt are following, so he will have a sense of deja vu. That's exactly what we've seen so far this weekend. Archie O'Brien's having a good run, trying to look at the back of Marco Holt and Ethan Sparks. So Archie O'Brien staying with this battle for second position, but already Archie Gibbs with a little bit of a gap at the front, but Ethan Sparks will start hunting him down and bring Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien with him.
And what a weekend Marco Holt is having so far this weekend here at Ellough Park. Picked up a win yesterday in the LC40 Elites. 2 podiums so far this weekend, and is right on the back of the championship leader now. Archie Gibbs stretching that lead out at the front. Ethan Sparks isn't going to want to let Archie Gibbs get away, but Archie Gibbs, who started from pole position, 2 seconds so far this weekend, is going to want to convert that into a win here for race 3 for the AC40 Pros. It looks as if Ethan Sparks is just closing in again on Archie Gibbs, but Archie keeping a good consistent pace at the front of this one. Archie O'Brien also right on the back of this battle for the podium in 4th place there on the number 91. We saw him battling for the win earlier on in the LC40 Pros, using every inch of the circuit as they go down into the dog leg hairpin, now into the slingshot hairpin. Ethan Sparks still leading in this battle for second place, but it's Archie Gibbs that leads the race overall on the number 3 machine, the white bike with the yellow flashes out front. He's got a bit of an advantage as they come across the line. Is Ethan Sparks catching? No, he isn't. Archie Gibbs is still stretching out that lead at the front. It was 0.7 of a second across the line, so Archie Gibbs putting the hammer down at the front and setting the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. But Ethan Sparks now defending from the number 58 of Marco Holt.
Yeah, you were saying that Marco has had a really good weekend, and he picked up a win in the LC40 Elites earlier in the weekend. 2 third place finishes in this pro class as well, and he's not being dropped by Ethan Sparks, who of course has had probably the best results out of anyone in the paddock this weekend. So Ethan Sparks is being shadowed very much by that blue and yellow bike of Marco Holt, the 58, and Marco with that distinct or very easily recognisable green helmet, Montesting inspired, is going to be following Ethan, and it's probably a good thing to do, because Ethan has been showing that he's got the pace and the speed around here. But here comes Marco. He's got a really good run on Ethan, not quite able to go side by side down the pit straight, but he is staying with the championship leader. Archie Gibbs in that Flag of St George helmet has got himself a pretty healthy gap now now. It's 1.1 seconds. He set the fastest lap last time around of 54.289, and he's managed to pull himself out a little bit further ahead of this battle between second, third and fourth.
Yeah, and Archie O'Brien there using all of the circuit, putting his hand up, apologising, making sure he's not going to get penalised for that, but he clearly hasn't been watching any Extreme 200 races or pit bike 140s, because there's riders using every inch of that piece of track as well. So Archie O'Brien absolutely flying here as well. Is a really mature little rider is Archie O'Brien, the number 91. But looking further back at Byron Johnson in his first season of racing and his first weekend here at the AC40 Pros, just leading over the number 14 of Bill Harris. That's the battle brewing for 7th and 8th place. Austin Johnson as well, Byron's brother, in his second race in the AC40 Pros here today. Just on the back of these guys as well, you can see there similarly liveried bike just behind Bill Harris there. So battles brewing all through this field, and just ahead of these guys is the number 78 of Joshua Williams, who's battling for the championship there with Ethan Sparks. So not where Joshua will want to be, but Marco Holt looking to the inside as they go into the dogleg hairpin. Can't quite make a move stick at the moment. Archie Gibbs has flown away at the front, and it's all about this battle for second place now between the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, number 58 of Marco Holt, and Archie O'Brien, the number 91. A really good little rider is Archie. We saw him battling at the front of the LC40 Elites, equally as Marco Holt also picking up a win in the LC40 Elites yesterday. And all these riders having a go in other championships whilst in this AC40 Pros. Of course, Ethan Sparks also leading the MKGP 50s. He was second in the AC40 Pros last year and looking to go one better this year, and he's doing a very good job of it with a healthy championship lead at the front.
Yeah, very much so indeed, and he is holding off Marco Holt, and as you say, Archie O'Brien, who's just sitting behind this battle and just watching it evolve, waiting for Marco Holt to maybe make a move and then pick up the pieces from one of the riders if they maybe make a mistake. As the wind is starting to gust around the circuit, and you can see the flags just blowing in the breeze, and what does that do to these riders? They're making their way around the circuit, especially little bikes. They don't weigh that much. What's a heavy breeze do?
Well, small bikes and small riders, these little riders are going to be blowing around down the straights. We've got a headwind, a tailwind, and also dipping into corners, getting gusts of wind isn't quite what you want. It's going to be a little bit harder for these guys to tip these bikes in, especially with they haven't got a lot of weight to be able to tip these bikes in on them, and obviously these small bikes quite easily blown around in the wind. Archie Gibbs is still out the front, and Ethan Sparks still defending that second place from Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien. Marco Holt with getting tremendous drive out there, but Ethan Sparks going real defensive into the dogleg hairpin as they go down to the slingshot hairpin as they come to complete that lap. Looking again at that battle, Austin Johnson has made his way right onto the back of his brother Byron. So bit of the sibling rivalry that was brewing in the AC40 rookies is now translated up into the AC40 Pros, with the two riders locked together on circuit yet again as Bill Harris looks to the inside of Austin Johnson. Can't quite make a move stick down into the slingshot hairpin. Looking again at the inside, Bill Harris eager to get through on Austin Johnson there. So the two Johnsons battling it out on circuit for 7th and 8th place, and don't count Bill Harris out as well. He's looking menacing as Austin Johnson goes up the inside of Byron Johnson at turn 1. Byron has a small look behind him, wasn't expecting his brother to come through there, but he'll be eager to get past the number 37 of Byron Johnson. Yeah,
slight wobble for Byron Johnson's front tyre there as he exited turn 3, but back on the pace and back on Austin Johnson. And yeah, this is a fight that we've seen in the rookie class, and now they've transitioned up to the pros, and it's great fun to see these two, as you say, sibling rivalry for the pair, and this time around it is Austin. But on to the final lap goes Archie Gibbs, and he's been a bit of an unknown man, 3.8 seconds up the road from Ethan Sparks, and Archie Gibbs is looking at making 2 second places into a first place, and they're ending the weekend in very, very comfortable style, and he's really controlled this one since starting on the pole. He's led every lap, got to the front, and he's just ridden off into the distance, and just a few more corners for the young man and to come home and pick up a win on the season. And Archie's done a fantastic job of this one, because he's just been controlled and extending that gap over a very fast Ethan Sparks. But Archie Gibbs into the penultimate corner, one more to go. Around the final corner comes Archie Gibbs up to the line and takes victory here in the AC40 Pro class. Very happy. You can see him bouncing on the bike there. Across the line comes Ethan Sparks, split by 0.134 of a second to Marco Holt and 0.108 to Archie O'Brien. So Marco and Archie desperately trying to close in on Ethan Sparks, but Ethan holds on to second. Then we've got the battle between Byron Johnson and Bill Harris going down to the wire. Bill Harris gets a good run out of the final corner, just about beaten to the line by Byron Johnson. But what a race there from Archie Gibbs. Well deserved, 4.5 seconds across the line. Ethan Sparks clearly distracted by a very fast Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan Sparks did a good job to hold on to that second place all the way through that race road. A real defensive race once he realised there was no catching the flying Archie Gibbs, the number 3 out the front. Ethan Sparks rode real defensive, and there it is confirmed then. Archie Gibbs takes the win ahead of the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. Marco Holt takes third place, another podium for him ahead of Archie O'Brien in fourth. Luke Fitchett in fifth ahead of Josh Williams in sixth. Austin Johnson in seventh ahead of his brother Byron in eighth. Bill Harris in ninth on the number 14 machine, and Noah Guillory, the number 41, rounds out the top 10 with Thorley Trevorrow rounding out the race there in 11th place after that crash earlier on. So a brilliant ride from Archie Gibbs then to take that win. 2 second places and a win for Archie Gibbs. Not a bad weekend.